Hi everyone, I am Galactic Ashley, and we are here today to do an intro and to talk for a moment about how this sort of project came about. And it is based on a couple of questions. The first one is, why do we care about the galactics? What is the point of meeting our star family? Besides the things that I talked about in embodying the starseed consciousness. So I suggest going and looking at that video if you have not seen it. But this is more of a personal story because there's a million different ways that you can work with your star family, and we're going to talk about several of those during the Meet the Galactics course. Because oftentimes we as human beings try and humanize the relationship that we're having with these multi-galactic, multi-dimensional beings, and we create limitations around those relationships. But I'm going to give a personal story about myself and my galactic family, and how a huge healing came about, and how that intersected with the power of words as I understood them, so that we have a little bit of, a personal connection, and that I understand. I've gone through this and I've spent a lot of time doing this on my own. If I hadn't, then I wouldn't be trying to do any of this with you. So it has been very valuable and beneficial for me. Helps to access the subconscious, has helped me bring about a lot of healing, and it has really helped me bring what the beings call divine neutrality into conversations that might be highly emotionally charged. And so it really helps you hold a heart coherency when in situations that have less than ideal vibrations occurring in them. And it's important, as long as you're not in danger, that you can be present in those situations, because something is being mirrored back to you. So there is an opportunity to learn. But if we aren't able to read, see, feel, know, and be present and hold our space, then there's really no point in being there. Because if all we're ever doing is feeling attacked, then you can't hold multiple perspectives to try and understand where everyone is coming from and where you're coming from, so that you can see wholly. apparently whole and holy, right? Like HOLY and WHO, whole, right? So let me start with my galactic family. So I had already connected with my galactic family, primarily working with them as just a whole family unit, a whole kind of just consciousness field, right? During this time in my life, previous lifetime within this incarnation, I was married, and we were talking about having children. And I was excited, except that I didn't feel like having a child, and that was very odd to me, because I feel everything. So I feel like I would have felt that I'd wanted a child, but I just figured it wasn't time yet, so I'm going to do some research. I'm going to read a bunch of baby books and going to read some things. So during this time, I'd already connected with my galactic family. My husband at the time was following his career. I was doing metaphysical work, a lot of it. Practicing, discerning, harnessing, like that was what my focus was, as was his health, as was a home renovation, as was Mahana's health, because she's had a lot of health issues in her history. So basically, I asked the universe some questions like, why don't I feel like having a child? I was sort of uncovering my relationship with my husband at the time, looking at things, mostly kind of blaming myself for everything that didn't seem like it was going right, like it must be me. So I was looking at sexuality within, like, what is healthy, what does a healthy sexual relationship look like within a marriage? What is normal? What is not normal? And all of these things. And mostly my biggest concern was what I felt very stressed about this child that doesn't exist, right? But at the time was, besides all of the things like, I was diagnosed with ADHD, I have like no sense of time. Not because of the ADHD, that's also in addition to the no sense of time, although you could say that they're together. But the dragons say that they are not. I'm on dragon time, which is no time. And that's wonderful, but also I need to be able to function in this third dimensional reality, right? So I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have a child. This child is gonna be late to school for the rest of its life until it's 16 at least, and it can drive themselves. So worrying about things like, because I know that there's something there, so I'm digging, because I'm always going to dig. I'm always willing to dig. And I realized that because of the relationship that I have with my mother, now this is not her fault. I'm a responsible adult. It doesn't really matter what happened in my history, but we don't have a very strong relationship. She is a very, very powerful woman. She's very strong. She's highly intuitive, and she's one of the best manipulators that I have met. And I'm really grateful for her. I know multiple reasons as to why I chose my parents to be my parents, and we can get into that in a moment. But so because of this, and we are a little bit similar, I guess. That's what people say. I don't know, mothers and daughters. We fought a lot. I ran a lot of my parents' energy for them without really quite understanding that. So emotional intelligence was not the highest level of intelligence in my household. However, one of the reasons why I did choose to incarnate with my parents is because both of my parents, they are divorced when I was 6. They are masters of the material world. They get things done. They get people to do things for them. They don't ask. They expect, and things get done. They are time adept. They are both very, very intuitive, and they use it in a different way. My dad used it in business and to be very successful in business. And my mother used it. She was excellent at her job. She worked for CPS, and then for the last few years for adult services. So that was perfect for her, and she just ended up helping people in that role, the people that she thought deserved help, that she wanted to help. But she was very, very good. So I will never take that away from her. She's an extremely hard worker, but she is also a narcissist. And I'm not going to sit here and slam on my mom on YouTube, but that creates for a lot of emotional discord. Let's just put it that way. And when people have, we'll just say, low emotional intelligence, it makes things difficult, especially if you have a kid that's super highly sensitive, and I'm absolutely an empath, right? And it's really, I'm absolutely grateful for them, especially now, right? So if any of you are listening to this and maybe you grew up with narcissists or had a lot of controlling people around you or people that didn't get it, especially if you had a lot of, I think this is just the most important thing, is that if you had a lot of manipulators around you or a lot of narcissists around you, you are really positioned well right now in the state of the collective. That is what is happening. Everybody is out for a power grab right now, and it's not grabbing other people's power that we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be grabbing our own power, not from other people. So if you have been around narcissists growing up, you have an innate, wonderful ability to know, feel, whatever works, however you work, to know or to feel, to see, whatever it is, to intuit when people are lying, when people are not telling the truth. And that is part of discernment, and that is a value. Frequently, starseeds choose pretty discordant families to grow up in, and they sort of front load the first part of their life with a lot of challenges, difficulties, traumas, blah, blah, blah. And it's in order to get the human condition down, understand what it is, bring your knowledge in, and the remembrances that you have, integrate that with early life experience and become wise around, as wise as possible in your mid to late 20s or earlier. That is the beauty. If you are willing to look at everything if you don't get lost in all of this energy, that is the beauty of a difficult childhood. Okay, so that being said, I'm trying to become a mother and I don't like the word mother. Don't like it, don't want to hear it, don't want to be called it. Mahana uses mama. I'll go with mama, but not mom, not mother, certainly not mommy, because mommy's weak. Or it's just no, not happening. So I don't like the word mother to the point that I refuse to call Mother Earth Mother Earth. I'll call her Gaia. I'll call her Earth. I just heard hey lady. I don't call her hey lady, but I say that because I just want you to understand the sort of depth to which have an issue with that word. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh no. So I'm asking, okay, so why not mother? So I'm digging around into this. So one, mother equals manipulative. Maybe mother is controlling. Mother doesn't listen. Mother, like Mommy Dearest, like that one show. And I don't want to be any of those things. So then I don't want to be mother, right? So that's a problem, right? So this is how all of this started, like, coming up, these words, right? And mother and power. To me, I was associating those because I see both my parents as very powerful. I also had been studying a lot of South America, Central America, Latin American culture. Was looking at I was in the Peace Corps. When I was in Paraguay, they had single party rule for 62 years. And the year that I was there, a different house went in. Why can't I think of the word? different party. A different party came in, right? And they had a dictatorship and been tortured in the area, right? So Latin America is just filled with colonialism, in a post-colonial society that's still, there's power struggles, there's a lot of violence, in a lot of areas. I love Latin America. I love South America. I love Central America. So I'm not ragging on those things. A lot of it's just strange, right? So I'm associating all of this with mother, right? So, but this is the problem, right? It's a no wonder that I don't feel like having a child. So you can't become something if you can't become the word that you dislike, the word that you don't want to have anything to do with. And so power was another one. So mother and power were coming up at the same time, as was feminine, the word feminine. So the beings had come in one day and they told me to just leave your energies alone, leave the masculine and leave the feminine alone. What I was doing was having my feminine principle masquerading as masculine. And this is very common, right? Okay, so it's like, fine, I'll leave it alone because they will do their thing, right? So that was just, feminine, masculine 101. The second one is powerful. Okay, so we have powerful, we have mother. I realized I had some things to look at. So I started with power. So whoever you are that are listening right now, you are a powerful being. You are extremely powerful. You have no idea how powerful you are. What does that mean to you, right? A lot of people don't want to have power because we see money is power, and then we don't want to have anything to do with money. Money corrupts, power corrupts, right? These are all phrases. Like, and what if these phrases are programs, right? What if that's done on purpose so that we say these things and we're entraining ourselves to not want to be powerful? But here's the deal. And power is power with, not power over. So if you're okay with empower, then you need to get to a point where you're okay with powerful. So you can say, I am powerful, when you know that you are not going to have power over someone, but that you are happy to support people to be there when you have the bandwidth to be powerful with them. So that was the second thing, I guess, the first thing. So now we're with mother. So this is where galactic family comes in. So all of a sudden one night, it's like I'm driving home, and it's late. It's like 11 o'clock or something. I'm coming back from a class, and I'd stayed later to talk with some friends, and I had channeled that night, and on the way home, I started kind of channeling on the way home. I started singing this sing-song song that I had made up for Mahana, right? Because I'm singing it to her all of the time. It's like, who's afraid of the big bad wolf? The big bad wolf. No, not me. I ain't afraid of no big bad wolf. No big bad wolf. My mama's here. I ain't got no fear, right? So this is some little rhymey thing that I made up that I was singing to Mahana sometimes. And I started singing that song, and then I realized that I'm singing that really I created that for myself, and that I was saying it to myself almost to soothe myself. And then, of course, I'm like crying and I'm not going to get into why, but I have a big connection with wolves in my histories beyond this lifetime. And another group of beings that I work with that are more like shapeshifters, but the chosen animal that we work with is the wolf. So, okay, so I'm singing on the way home, like crying. I'm like, oh man. I pull into the driveway, and I am sitting in there, and all of a sudden, the energy just shifts because now I've stopped driving, right? So, and my galactic mother comes in, and I know it's my galactic family, and it's not really the singular her, but it is the feminine aspect of the collective consciousness that is my galactic family, and they are coming in with the divine feminine, and they're basically, in a nutshell, this is like an hour and a half. It's a huge amount of healing that is taking place. I let go of my mother because I am told that I don't need to worry about being a good mother because I already know how to be one, because I already am the divine mother and I need to be the divine mother to myself. I need to trust myself, and I need to trust that I've had other lifetimes and that my galactic mother has taught me how to be a mother. And that beyond this, my mother, my human mother, is one of my greatest master teachers. And to stop seeing her as a mother, stop expecting her to be motherly or that kind of mothering energy that one might desire, and to free myself and to free her from these expectations or these desires or these, I'm sure you've all done this. I wish this person were more like this. I wish my mother had said this at this time when I was young instead of this. I wish she hadn't said this, etc., etc., etc. And you can put father in or mother and replace these, right? So I did that, and it profoundly shifted the relationship with my mother because I was able to see her as the master teacher that she is. And no, it's not like the Yeshua or the Buddha or the Kuan Yin type of master teacher. It is a 3D master teacher of ruler, queen of the linear world, and all of these things. So then I can start recognizing the gifts that are really present through our relationship, even though there was a lot of unfairness during a lot of times. Of course, I never grew up without. I did not grow up without anything in the material, and so I used to justify everything that I was feeling when I was upset or angry. When I was younger, I would say, at least I'm not starving, at least I have clothes, which is just minimizing emotions that I needed to deal with. And I did deal with them, but because I had those emotions and those experiences, it's basically what started me. Well, that's not what started me. I was already kind of on this path, but it's what led me to the self-development and to the psychology books, because I did not get human beings. So I just connecting with my galactic family in that moment, that's when I realized, holy smokes, that was a huge, massive shift that just happened in an hour, and it happened because I was connected with, and I know who my galactic family is. So that is when I realized that I wanted to help connect other people with their galactic lineages and their galactic family. And in that moment, I realized that I have had so many mothers in my lifetime that were incredible. I've mentioned before that I have been blessed with being able to travel and having a lot of women sort of show up in and men too, but show up in my life at really important times to teach me things or to show me. And so every woman, let's just call them host families, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, and sometimes for years, that I have lived with, have been the most incredible, nurturing, that mother that like grabs you and like shoves your shoves your face like in their bosom and like hugs you, and like you can do no wrong and they love you no matter what. I've had those experiences, and I've had them in this lifetime. And it wasn't that I wasn't recognizing them, but I was not as grateful for them as maybe I should have been, because I was still focused on my mother being my mother. And my mother was I was raised in a way where I am not your friend. I am your mother, and you will do as I say. When I say jump, you will ask how high. So that was sort of the expectation. And for me, in order to hide, I was the golden child, meaning I did my best to get over a 4.0 as often as be the best at everything, do the best, because when you do that, then people are happy and they leave you alone. You mess up and you're in big trouble, like in the crime and the punishment never seemed to match. So, yes. So for me, one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about connecting people with their galactic families, why I believe it's hugely important to meet the galactics, is because of that one experience. And then not only that, but when I did meet them before this healing moment that I had with my the collective feminine mother in my galactic family, is that all of the writing that I had done my whole entire life, all of the what do you call automatic writing. I've been doing automatic writing almost my whole life. I just didn't know that that's what it was called. I'd literally sit there and be like, this hand is not mine. Like I would connect to like the pen and write, and I would just write. And all of the verbiage and the word choice was my galactic fan. Like when they finally said, we're your galactic family, just the way that they were speaking, I went and I ran to all of my books and I looked at them, and all the word choice, it's like the vibration was all over. So I say that and I share that because usually what will happen in a lot of times, right? Not always. you will wait. They can't tell you everything all at once. It would have been lovely if they would have been really specific, when I was like 10, like, we're your galactic family, but they were always there. Beings were always there. The love was always there. I was always communicating, always talking, always receiving responses. Like everything was always there. I just was missing the piece that said I'm your galactic family, which it's a big piece, but it's not really a big piece because nothing was missing other than that one phrase, right? And of course it probably because as soon as that happened, it was like, all right, we're doing this. We're doing sessions. It's happening. And then the words. So the power of the words and this experience with my galactic family came together. And so that is why we are doing this. And I hope that you have the experiences that you need when you go through these 30-something recordings, when you feel drawn to them to do this. And there are multiple reasons to connect with your galactic family or to find out who they are. I always feel like if anybody were sitting here right now and you're like, oh, should I get a session from you or should I join your group, I will always 100% of the time say join the group, whether it's light language, channeling, remembering through the art of creativity, mythogeographies, meet the galactics, whatever it is, I'm always going to say join the group. And the reason for that is because it's so much more empowering for you to see what you can do and to see that you're connected and to understand the way that you perceive and receive and the way that you are wired. Obviously, if you can do both, do both, but I'm always going to forefront the course because it brings community, connection, and love together, where we're all holding space with each other. And then you begin to develop a greater sense of faith in yourself, and you trust yourself, and then you start realizing that you're a powerful person and that these galactic beings are not taking your sovereignty away. In fact, they won't even talk to you if you're trying to give your power over to them. They'll just back off. I mean, they probably won't even be like visiting you consciously necessarily. It depends. Everybody has different experiences, but they want you to claim your sovereignty and to make choices. And when you start doing that, they can come in a lot stronger. Why would you want them to come in? Because we're really here to start remembering, and we got to remember. We got to heal, we got to remember, and we got to anchor these light codes into the planet and whatever other reason you are here for, whatever your mission is. So I hope that through this process, you can uncover some things within your subconscious, connect with your galactic family, and maybe discover some things about yourself that you didn't quite realize that have been hiding out in these words that we use, right? I know everybody here is probably like, oh, I manifest with words and I only use high vibrational words. And it's like, that is lovely. I'm not picking fun of you. I'm sorry. But we have got to be better listeners to each other. Doesn't matter if we believe what the other person is saying. People need to be witnessed. When people are witnessed, subconsciously, they will be more willing to look at their own wounds. When people are witnessed, that is how they heal. And because they become seen, they become heard. And being a witness is one of the most powerful things that we can do. And we can only be a witness if we're in the present moment, if we have an open heart. And if somebody is using triggering language, you can't wholeheartedly be present, listen to them, and be a witness to yourself, to the earth, to a tree, or to another human being. So that this is just really powerful. So in this process, we're not only focusing on what's negative, what do I feel that's negative around these words, right? And to be clear, we are not looking at words that have anything to do with like the N word or any other derogatory racist term that was ever invented through time. Clearly, those have things in them, but you don't have, like, if you're a sensitive person, you don't have to be called that word or to ever have personally experienced it, because you will feel the power in that word because of the way that it was created, right? So that's almost like black magic. And I don't mean, see, now I'm like, why did you have to say black, Ashley? It's not an really black or white magic. Non-beneficial energies, whatever. It's negative energy was infused in that word specifically to create harm. So when there are words like that that have a collective historic intention that has been infused in that word, those are not the words that we're looking at. We're going to be looking at words like male, female, power, deserve, sorry, because these words carry big things. So, so I believe that when you have words and you're trying to only use positive words and you get really mucked up in like, oh, how do I set an intention because I can only use these higher vibrational words? If you have a lot of unhealed energies or frequencies within your subconscious that are being sent out, because everything in our subconscious is constantly sending frequencies out. This is part of how we resonate. This is part of our whole energy system. And you are just, you not just, but using these words like to manifest money or something, but you don't, you believe that you lack self-worth, and that's a pretty deep feeling. That frequency is being sent out, and it essentially cancels out your ability to manifest money. So you can use all the powerful positive words that you want. That is the very beginning of a positive entrainment program, or sort of like a brain entrainment for yourself. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just letting you know that there's some more stuff that you could do that will really help elevate the power of positive words, because there's a lot going on in our subconscious, and the dragons are all about it. So with that, thank you for listening to this, and now you know why the galactics and why words. And then let's go into the next video and talk about word sound templates as words.